Money can buy 100 rooms, the biggest windows, and the best table at any restaurant. But it can't buy the one thing a little girl needs most when daylight fades: the warmth of a mother's arms. Mike Anderson's world was built on shimmering glass, Manhattan lights, and applause. He was 30, perfect suit, perfect reputation, the kind who walked into boardrooms and made CEOs wonder what they'd missed. His penthouse overlooked the city. His last name opened any door. People called him lucky, but luck was something he no longer believed in. But after his wife's sudden death, luck was exactly what he prayed for. Every night the silence swallowed him in his high rise. His only daughter, Lily, 7 years old, had become his sun, his universe, his saving. Every deal he closed, every mile he traveled. Only one thing mattered when he came home. Her little feet sprinting across the marble, her tiny voice telling him stories, her sleepy head on his shoulder as he tucked her in. Mike gave her the world. Except for one thing money could not buy: a mother's presence. So, he made a plan the way rich men do, systematic, logical, with every risk calculated. If he couldn't bring back the woman he'd lost, he would build a family for Lily with care, with intention, and with the right kind of woman. He would interview, introduce, assess. He would find someone worthy for Lily's sake to be the next Mrs. Anderson. A new start not just for him but for his precious girl. But in a world where everyone wants to step into a millionaire's house, even the purest intentions can go wrong. Mike met women at galas, at charities, in business lounges, and all seemed perfect from afar. But he forgot what every child knows. The heart can see what even grown-up eyes miss. "Let's meet someone today, sweetheart," he told Lily, smoothing her hair before lunch, voice gentle. "Someone nice. Someone special." Lily, with her mother's deep eyes, just nodded. Vanessa arrived first. A model, all shine and practiced grace, bearing a mountain of glittering toys and praise that went nowhere. She knelt, camera-ready, but just a little too careful, a little too posed. Under the surface, when she thought no one saw, her smile slipped, her words cut sharper, colder. Lily, silent, took one teddy bear and left the rest unopened. Lunch after lunch, Mike watched Lily fade behind her gentle politeness. At dinner, she refused to say more than no when asked. Her face turned to the framed photo of her real mother. Still, Mike pressed on. He tried sophistication. Clara, the lawyer, all discipline and expectations. "A girl of your age must learn to be exceptional," Clara insisted, missing every small hurt in Lily's eyes. Then Olivia, influencer. All laughter for the camera and hidden impatience when the selfie stopped. "Show them your best smile, princess," Olivia said, but when the phone was down, her patience was gone. Lily's only response: another polite no. Rebecca, the perfect match for Mike's world, brought compliments and structure. But an accident with a glass of water exposed the real Rebecca. "An heiress must not act like a servant's child," she hissed, not knowing Diane, the cleaning lady, had heard. And Lily's heart was marked forever. Fifth came Sabrina, all kindness in public, all cruelty for the staff. She ridiculed Diane for clinging to children she doesn't own. Lily heard, and for the first time her answer came with tears. Every night, Mike returned to his big, brilliant house and felt smaller by the hour. 5 beautiful, wealthy, achievement-filled women, each one admired by society, but not one admired by his daughter. But he was missing the only person who never auditioned, the only person whose name was never on a guest list, but whose hands wiped away Lily's tears with nobody watching. The only person Lily had chosen all along. Hook. But in the house's quiet library, when the world stopped watching, it was Diane, the cleaning lady, who comforted Lily, who knew her favorite Coco, who stitched her broken teddy bear, who remembered which lullaby her mother had sung on stormy nights. "She never gives me presents for cameras, Daddy," Lily whispered to Mike, clutching an old photo. "She just stays." What neither Lily nor Mike knows is that choosing Diane will test the courage of every person in the house, will spark outrage, force hidden truths into the open, and rebuild one family from the ground up. The weeks rolled on, and with every sophisticated guest, Lily grew stiller, her laughter fading like sunlight at dusk. Mike noticed, but the world applauded. He was doing his best, giving his daughter every option, 5 models of grace and wealth and style. The media guessed at which lucky woman would become the next Mrs. Anderson, gossip swirling like city traffic. never knowing the child at the center was unmoved. But the real stage was the Anderson kitchen, where Diane worked long hours, sleeves rolled, old shoes softening the quiet marble. She wore her scars in silence. Parents lost young, dreams packed away. She had spent a lifetime walking through other people's homes, learning to become invisible the moment someone important came in. But for Lily, she was never invisible. Diane knew Lily's favorite spoon, her secret hiding spot when sadness struck, the exact temp of cocoa to soothe a nightmare. It was Diane who remembered the words to Twinkle, Twinkle in French because Lily's mother once sang it that way. She snuck moments of tenderness between folding laundry and scrubbing tile. A tissue pressed into a small palm, a joke whispered to break tension, a gentle hand fixing a braid after the last fancy guest left. While Millionaires presented flawless resumes and shimmering shoes, Diane's badge was the way Lily nestled into her side, trusting, no performance needed. Mike tried everything. He asked friends to recommend warm women, tried casual introductions, even staged a playdate at the city's fanciest indoor garden. Lily was polite as always, until a beautiful guest scolded a server for forgetting the right flower arrangement, and Lily, biting her lip, left the room in tears. "She doesn't like anyone, does she?" a friend whispered to Mike. "She's grieving," Mike replied, trying to believe it himself. That night, Mike found Lily curled up with her teddy in the closet beneath the stairs. He offered her the promise of a new trip, a new friend, another dinner with nice people. She shook her head, eyes hard. "I don't want them, Daddy. They all leave sooner or later. Only Diane stays." Mike could not answer, not then. Meanwhile, in the privacy of the servants' hallways, Diane quietly tried to step back. She knew rumors grew when a child latched onto someone beneath her station. Old lessons whispered, "Don't draw attention. Don't become a problem." She took extra shifts, kept her voice down, tried never to be present when guests were over. But she could not bear to see Lily lonely. When the lights dimmed, she'd sneak into the girls' room, stroke her hair until sleep came, write little notes with jokes or riddles to hide in her books for comfort. Sunday brought the fifth dinner, a dazzling display of artful cuisine and careful introductions. Sabrina, beautiful and humanitarian, made all the right overtures, doted on Lily in front of Mike, but scolded Diane for getting too attached to her employer's child. Lily heard, and something cold and true awakened in her. Later, Mike tried to encourage Sabrina to return, but Lily clung to Diane in the hall, refusing to let her go. The Anderson grandmother, elegant and iron-willed, caught the scene and frowned. "Mike, darling, it's not healthy. A child must know her place, and so must the staff." Mike felt the world's pressure, the tradition, the judgment. He looked at his daughter, then at Diane, and said nothing. At night, Lily lay in bed holding her late mother's photo, the words trapped in her throat. Finally, she whispered to Diane, "Do you have a mom?" Diane smiled softly, brushing a tear from her own cheek. "She's far away now, but I think of her every time I hear a child laugh. She would have liked you." "I want you to stay forever," Lily said, desperate. Diane kissed her forehead. "As long as you need me, little star." But the house was uneasy. Employees whispered, "Something's changing." Guests noticed Diane more. Her gentle care for Lily, her quiet dignity, the way the child blossomed at her touch. One afternoon, after Diane gently mended an old dress of Lily's for a school party, a dress that belonged to her mother, Mike watched from the doorway. He saw Diane's hands strong and nimble, her eyes focused, her patience infinite. He remembered every guest, every dazzling woman who had swept through his life, each one leaving coldness behind. Diane had only ever left warmth, never expecting thanks, and for the first time he felt envy, not of Diane's simplicity, but of the love she could give so easily, love he feared he had forgotten how to offer himself. Outside the Anderson mansion, gossip swelled. Who would win the prize? Which old money family would merge into Anderson empire? But inside, a small revolution brewed, seated in the loyalty of a child and the quiet endurance of a cleaning lady. The night before the gala dinner, a celebration of Mike's latest business conquest, Lily found Diane in the kitchen, crying softly over a broken mug. Lily hugged her tight. "Why are people so mean, Diane?" "Sometimes people don't see who we really are," Diane whispered. until they lose what's most important. What neither knew was that the next night, at the biggest party of the year, everything would come to a head. A cruel remark, a child's courageous act, and a father forced to choose not what the world wanted, but what a wounded home truly needed. The Anderson house sparkled under 1,000 lights. Waiters in black carried trays through marbled corridors. Laughter echoed through glass, and every guest was dressed in their finest, diamonds glinting against champagne, voices trained to sound effortless. Mike had never hosted a grander celebration. Lily wore her mother's repaired dress, her hair freshly braided by Diane, who remained invisible as usual, moving between kitchen and hall, barely noticed except by the other staff. Guests eyed her only in passing, a servant, a shadow. Rebecca, gleaming in a silver gown and eyes bright with calculation, sidled up to Mike. "Tonight might be the night, Lily is so grown up. Maybe she's ready for a real family again." Mike nodded vaguely, searching for Lily, whose face was already growing tight under all the noise. After dinner, the circle of suitable women, old friends, business connections, the city's best dressed, clustered around Mike, each making small talk that barely glanced at Lily before drifting back to real estate, investments, lambasting the help. From the hallway, Lily watched, shrinking behind a pillar, the laughter too sharp, too large. She saw Diane carrying empty platters, a tired smile just for her whenever she looked over. The night grew heavy with the scent of roses and expensive perfume. Then it happened. Rebecca cornered Diane in a side corridor, her voice sweetness edged with venom. "You've done well, Diane, but it's time for you to remember that some roles can never be changed, no matter how much the child clings. Leave the parenting to those born for it." Diane, weary but proud, replied only, "I am here to care for Lily. Nothing more." Rebecca leaned closer. "If you really loved her, you would leave before you embarrass her in front of everyone who matters." Neither saw Lily round the corner, eyes wide, fists clenched. "I heard you," she said suddenly, loud enough to stop Rebecca in her tracks, loud enough for heads to turn from the dining room. Rebecca flinched. "Darling, adults are talking." "No," Lily said, her small voice trembling. "You don't love anyone here. You're mean to Diane, and you tried to make me feel like I was a problem. Diane never makes me feel that way." Her words snapped through the air sharper than broken glass. A hush fell. Guests glanced at each other, unsure what to do. Witness to a child's defiance never fits the script of the wealthy. Mike appeared at the end of the hall, drawn by the silence, and took in the scene. His daughter shaking but unbowed. Diane pale, hands folded to steady herself. Rebecca furious and exposed. "Is something wrong?" Mike asked evenly, though he already knew. Rebecca, flustered, tried to recover. "Just a misunderstanding. Lily is upset. You know how it is with children after all." But Lily, emboldened by her father's presence, stood tall. "I want Diane. I want her here. She loves me even when you aren't looking, Daddy. She never yells at me when I make mistakes." Then, as cameras in the next room flashed towards the commotion, Lily did something unexpected. She walked to Diane and took her hand. "She's my family," she said. "No one else." A murmur swept the guests. Someone scoffed, but a few, often the ones who noticed pain quickest, nodded in understanding. Mike swallowed hard, his heart slamming with both dread and relief. The room was split. His mother, standing nearby, stiffened, lips ready with 1,000 years of social rules. A business partner muttered, "Control your house, Mike. Don't let sentiment make your next mistake." But the old formula, close the trouble, save face, hide the truth, fell apart when he saw the tears on Diane's face and the courage in Lily's eyes. He realized he'd failed to protect what mattered by trying to please everyone else. He bent to Lily, his voice steadier than he felt. "Whoever is cruel to Diane is not welcome here," he said simply, and for the first time, he meant it without defensiveness. Rebecca blanched, scandal radiating from every inch of her posture. She left in a hurry, brushing past waiters who now looked at Diane differently, as if seeing her, not just her uniform, for the first time. Later, in the quiet aftermath when the guests left and the servants cleared the last glasses, Mike found Diane sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her hands. "I'm sorry for everything you endured under my roof," he said quietly. "I meant to build a family for Lily, but I let others' judgments build walls instead. Diane shook her head. I was hired to keep things tidy, but sometimes I wanted someone to notice that hearts need care, too. Mike met her eyes. Teach me, please. I need to learn. That night, for the first time in months, Lily slept without nightmares. Diane sat beside her bed, humming the old lullaby, and Mike watched from the doorway, a deep ache replaced at last by something almost like healing. Outside, in the city that judged by evening headlines and morning scandal, rumors spread. The Anderson girl defended her maid, the party broke ranks, the millionaire refused to play by old rules. But inside, a family was being rebuilt, where the value of love was measured not in diamonds or table settings, but in that which endures even after the world turns away. But with truth comes backlash. As rumors ignite in the wealthiest circles and Mike's own mother tries to drive Diane out for dishonor, the new family faces its hardest test yet. Can dignity and affection overcome the world's cruelty? Will Diane stay, or will she break under the burden of judgment she never asked for? Morning sun glimmered on post-party disorder. Stacks of glasses, faint perfume on the stairs, laughter echoes now steeped in gossip. As Mike read the newsfeed, Anderson's daughter shames socialite. Servant becomes star of the night. His heart beat hard. Allies texted, "We support you." Or warned, "The city's watching, Mike. Don't let a child's fancy ruin your reputation." But he ignored them. For once, only Lily and Diane mattered. He found Diane quietly prepping Lily's school lunch, her eyes heavier than ever. She worked twice as fast, her presence more fleeting, as if to become smaller, less of a target. "Sit," Mike said softly at the kitchen table. Diane hesitated, her hands trembled. He spoke gently. "You don't have to hide, you did nothing wrong." Diane shook her head, tears glistening for the first time. In houses like this, even kindness is dangerous. If I love Lily too much, it is a problem. If I leave her, it's a heartbreak. If I stay, the world will say I came for money or fame or your rescue. Do you want to leave? Mike's voice broke on the words he feared most. She bit her lip. I have nowhere to go, but I won't be the source of trouble for your family. Mike gathered himself. Then let me be clear. This is your home too. You care for Lily with a love I haven't seen since her mother died. If society judges, let them judge me, not you. I'll protect you both, no matter what it costs. Diane's mouth tightened. Don't promise what you can't defend, her eyes seemed to say. But she nodded. That afternoon, the Anderson matriarch, Eleanor, arrived without warning, her presence slicing the house quieter still. She entered the library, gestured for Mike to sit, and began. This has gone too far. Guests are talking. Papers are calling you reckless. If you let this continue, you will trade respect for scandal. Diane must go before her presence brings down this family's name. Mike was ready for this fight. Mother, did you see Lily yesterday? Did you see how she protects the only woman who dried her tears, brushed her hair, remembered her dreams? Eleanor's eyes filled with cold steel. You're sentimental, Michael. That woman is a servant, not a solution. If you cannot manage your child's emotions, let me. I built this legacy. I will not have it ruined by pity. Mike's hands were steady. I won't pick reputation over the happiness of my daughter. I chose a wife once for society's sake. I lost her to illness, not unhappiness. I will not lose Lily to silence, or lose Diane because the city refuses to see her as more than her uniform. The two Andersons stared, years of expectation shifting in the gaze of a man no longer willing to play by inherited rules. Diane in her room packed a bag slowly. She folded her simple uniform, tucked away her few keepsakes, eyes blurry with what was being lost. Lily, sensing the sorrow, crept in. Are you really leaving? Her voice was nearly a whisper. Diane knelt. Sometimes adults have to protect the people they love by moving away from hurt. You are so brave, Lily. My home is wherever you are happy. Lily began to cry. Please stay. I won't let anyone make you go. Diane hugged her close, heartbreaking. If people talk, they talk. But sometimes you need to be stronger than their words. Mike found them there, not hiding anymore. He saw the pain, the fear, and something snapped. He called Eleanor back into the kitchen. Here's my final word. If you insist, Mother, you can leave our home. But Diane stays. My daughter and our future will not pay for the blindness of those who judge kindness as weakness. Eleanor, for the first time in years, had no prepared response. She simply left. Still, the city's circles spun. Anonymous notes appeared at the gate. Know your place. She's just using you. Employees whispered, afraid for their own security if the social order collapses. A few staff members quit. New guests declined invitations. Mike and Diane found themselves under siege, but Lily flourished. She spoke up at school, her old shyness melting. Teachers wrote home. She is happier than ever. What has changed? One night, as Diane considered quitting, for her own honor, for Lily's safety, Mike sat with her in the winter garden. You don't have to suffer to prove you belong here. You belong because you are good, not because you are patient, he said. Diane raised her chin. I never asked for a place in this family. I only cared for your child, because she deserves to be loved when nobody's looking. Mike smiled, a tired, grateful smile. That's why you're already our family, Diane. The world can learn to accept it, or get out of our way. The press blitzed with new insults and old rumors, but a week later something small changed. Lily, at a class presentation, stood up in front of her peers and teachers. Her project, my hero. She held up a drawing of Diane. Apron, kind smile, hands covered in flour. She helped me remember my mom. She made me believe I was still special. She stays even when it's hard. A teacher teared up. The story spread, not with scandal but with admiration. A few parents called Mike. Your daughter is teaching ours more about love than any lesson. Mike sent the article to Diane. She wept, not from pain but because for once being herself was enough. But new trials await. Diane's own humility nearly drives her to leave. Lily faces a final heartbreak, and one last confrontation will either banish the shame for good, or break the fragile new family forever. Despite small victories, the pressure on Diane grew unrelenting. Every kindness was watched, every smile gossiped about. If she dared sit with Lily for story time, a cook raised an eyebrow. If Mike lingered to ask about Lily's meal, the butler's silence went cold. Even Diane's simplest acts became political. The house itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her to slip. One snowy morning a letter arrived, anonymous and signed Cruel. No matter what the child wants, you do not belong. For her sake, for your own, leave before you are forced out. Diane read the words in the laundry room, her hands shaking. Such messages had chased her in different forms since childhood. Still it hurt. She resolved at last to go. That evening, she found Mike in his office, Lily coloring beside him. I'm resigning, Diane said softly, voice breaking. Don't try to convince me. Your world is never going to let me belong. Mike stood abruptly, the old defensiveness flaring, but this time he only nodded. If you must, you must. But don't leave believing you were never enough. He handed her an envelope, her final wage, but also a letter of recommendation. If ever you change your mind, come home to us. Home isn't the building. It's the people who defend you. Diane packed quietly, but Lily sensed the storm. The girl waited by Diane's room, refusing every explanation. You're not my maid, you're my family. I'll run away if you leave. Diane hugged her, holding her tightly. I'll always be in your heart, even if I'm not in this house. Mike tried to convince Lily. We can visit. We can write. But sometimes adults must make hard choices. Lily only shook her head. Every adult says that when they want to stop trying. Mike was stunned, his own child seeing through comforts he'd used for years. That night, Lily refused dinner, refused her bath, refused to sleep anywhere but Diane's empty bed. The next morning, Eleanor appeared again, suitcase in hand. You've done the right thing, Michael. Order is restored. Children adjust. Staff must know their place. But the house remained cold. Lily avoided her grandmother, ignoring the gifts she brought. Books, dresses, jewelry. Nothing made her smile. 3 days passed. Diane found a small apartment, took a custodial job at a nearby elementary school, sent no word. Lily grew silent. She stopped humming, stopped running. Mike's business meetings blurred together. The money, the pride, the family name, none gave him peace. All he heard was the echo his daughter had left in Diane's small room. Home isn't the building. Midweek, a call came from Lily's school. After lunch, she left campus and disappeared. Panic flared. Mike rushed to the principal's office, scoured the nearby streets. It was Diane who found her, waiting outside the school with 2 sandwiches and a scarf. Lily sat on a park bench, shivering. "I told Daddy I'd run away." He didn't listen. Diane bundled her up, tears streaming. "You can't live old wounds for other people, little heart. Sometimes adults are wrong. But you must not disappear to prove a point." She called Mike. When he arrived, breathless and terrified, Lily threw herself into his arms. "I want Diane. If she can't come home, I want to live with her." A crowd had gathered, watching. A single father, a cleaning lady, and a defiant little girl. It was all Mike needed. He turned to Diane. "If you and Lily want to build a home together anywhere, I'm coming too. I can't lose my child trying to please people who only value their own comfort." For the first time, Diane saw in Mike not a boss, but a man ready to fight for something that couldn't be bought. The press caught the scene. A father, a child, and the woman the city thought was unworthy. They ran new headlines. Anderson chooses maid's love over society's rules. Daughter runs away to protect her chosen family. This time, comments swelled with support. "Bravo à la petite fille courageuse. La vraie famille, c'est le cœur. Pas l'argent ni l'établir. Quand les enfants aiment ce que les protégent." That night, Mike gathered his mother and the remaining staff in the Great Hall. "I made a mistake letting fear rule this house. Whoever believes Diane is less than family may leave with my blessing. Whoever stays, this is your home. Respect is not optional." Eleanor, silent, finally nodded. "Perhaps I too forgot that legacy is measured by love, not only by name." The following week, Diane returned, not as a maid, but as Lily's chosen guardian. She kept her job at the school, helped Lily with homework, cooked dinner with Mike on weekends. They all began, slowly, carefully, to learn how to share space as equals, not as master and servant. Every so often, Diane would still flinch at a stranger's stare, but Lily would grip her hand tighter, defiantly proud. Mike, learning patience at last, joined them in small joys. Baking together, public walks, helping Diane start evening classes to pursue her old dream. An open center for children who had lost as much as she once did. The world's judgment will simmer, old friends will whisper, but behind closed doors, love refuses to be shamed. When one last public test arises, a family dinner where Lily chooses to speak her full truth, the Anderson legacy will be rewritten not in stone, but in courage, tears, and the messy, holy work of becoming more than what society expects. Word spread quickly in New York circles. Mike Anderson had not only let a cleaning lady stay, he included her as guardian to his heiress daughter. Some gossiped in outrage, a few in awe, but most just waited for the scandal to burn itself out. Invitations slowed. Old friends vanished. Dinners alone became common. Still, Mike didn't flinch. Every evening, he ate with Lily and Diane at a small kitchen table, laughing over simple food, helping Lily with math homework, really learning what mattered in a home. For the first time in years, he began to sleep through the night. But Eleanor did not accept her loss so easily. She pressed for a final test. A formal family dinner, all Andersons invited, old uncles, distant aunts, just like the days when everything was grand and controlled. Mike hesitated, but Lily begged, "Let Diane come as family." That evening, Diane wore a simple navy dress. No jewelry, no effort to impress. Lily braided her hair with trembling hands. "You're perfect," she whispered. In the grand dining room, the cold returned. Aunts glanced and whispered. Uncles asked Diane stiff questions about her future prospects. Eleanor smiled, sharp as winter glass, and raised a toast. "To family, and to learning our place in history." Mike tried to steer conversation, but nobody really listened. They just watched, waiting for a slip. Halfway through dessert, an uncle asked Lily sweetly, "Ma chérie, are you happy with your new arrangements? Do you miss the big parties?" Lily stared into her plate before setting her fork down. "I miss lots of things," she said quietly, "but not fake smiles. Not feeling small." Eleanor, rigid, managed, We all make sacrifices for family, darling. But we mustn't forget what's proper. Lily's eyes blazed. For the first time, her gentle child's voice rang off marble, steady and strong. What's proper is to love the people who help you when you're hurting. Diane always sits with me, even when no one sees. She taught me to tie my shoes, to say thank you, to keep my mother's picture safe. She never laughs at the things I say or scolds if I cry. She doesn't care if I'm rich or poor. She just stays. The table froze. Even the servants in the doorway fell silent. Lily turned to Eleanor, trembling with conviction. A real family is people who stay, not people who tell you how much you embarrass them. If Diane can't stay, then I don't want to either. A glass shattered in the kitchen as a staff member dropped it. Nobody moved to scold her. Mike put his arm gently around his daughter's shoulder, pride and grief mixing in his eyes. He stood, nodded to Diane and said simply, "In this house, you don't have to buy your place. You earn it with who you are. Thank you for loving my daughter better than I ever could alone." Diane, overwhelmed, shook her head, but a tear rolled down her cheek. Across the table, an old aunt, herself a widow from decades back, smiled gently, eyes wet. Let the child be. Sometimes the bravest thing in the world is to love without checking titles first. For the first time, Eleanor had nothing to add. She looked at Diane, then at Lily, then at her son, and sighed, century-long expectations blowing away for now. After dinner, Lily hugged Diane tightly in the hallway. "Did I do wrong?" she whispered, anxious. Diane knelt and kissed her forehead. "You spoke the truth. That is never wrong." That night, Mike tucked Lily into bed. He sat quietly, thinking of all the love he had spent years seeking in the wrong places. At last, he understood why his daughter had found it without him. The next week, the New York Society column speculated on the Anderson servant scandal. But the more they wrote, the more people, secretaries, doormen, teachers, applauded quietly. Some wrote letters to Diane saying, "You made us feel seen." Others sent gifts for Lily, thanking her for teaching their daughters that even in a big city, kindness matters most. Diane found herself a little lighter. For the first time, no one asked her to disappear. Mike stopped apologizing for the life he chose. And Lily, her smile bright again, started a project at school. Heroes Who Are Not in Stories, and with Diane's help, made a book filled with portraits of nurses, cleaners, cooks, lost mothers, and friends. They called it My Real Family. Rumors faded, but peace rarely lasts in a world where outsiders sense weakness. 2 weeks after the dinner, as Diane settled into her new position in Lily's life, the past returned, not as memory, but as a storm in heels and pearls. Rebecca, the elegant socialite once favored by Eleanor, reappeared. Invited by Mike's business partner to a daytime charity event under the Anderson roof, she arrived smiling. A little too bright, a little too knowing. She brought gifts for Lily, compliments for Mike, veiled apologies for being distant while you went through so much. Her words oozed concern, her touch brushing Lily's hair, but her eyes never left Diane, who tried to blend into the kitchen shadows. Over lunch, Rebecca drank just enough champagne to loosen her tongue. "It's admirable," she announced to the table, "the way some people rise above their beginnings. But shouldn't children be taught to aspire? And not to settle?" She looked pointedly at Diane, then at Lily. Eleanor, sensing danger and still wounded by her own defeat, did not intervene. Mike stiffened but kept his calm. Rebecca continued, "Mike, darling, have you thought how the world sees this? A man of your status, a woman so far beneath him, it's practically charitable." The room tensed. The staff paused in the doorway. People remember moments like these, and many secretly root for both sides. Tradition versus truth. Mike's voice was measured. "Rebecca, if you call love charity, you've never understood either." Rebecca smirked, not backing down. "And if the city sees a child led astray by a... She caught herself, glancing at Lily. But Lily, emboldened by all she'd seen, spoke up for herself. "You don't know Diane," she said, shaking. "You only see what people wear. But she listens. She helps. She doesn't use me for parties or attention. She stays when everyone else wants to be seen." Rebecca tried to laugh it off, but Lily didn't shrink. Her confidence turned accusation to ash. Diane, her face burning, retreated to the hall. She wanted to run, hide, cry, but she stayed silent, dignity intact. After lunch, Mike found her putting away dishes, hands trembling. "I can't be the reason people attack you or Lily," Diane whispered. "Why must kindness make me the target?" He reached for her hand. "You're not their target, you're their threat. You prove love can't be bought. That terrifies everyone who built their lives on facade." She cried then, not from pain, but from the tiredness of fighting battles that never end. Rebecca's attacks spiraled into city gossip. Anonymous sources told tabloid stories meant to humiliate Diane. A false arrest in her youth, actually a misunderstanding when she was 16 and helped a friend shoplift food for siblings. A rumor Mike offered her hush money, a lie Lily's affection was manipulated. Instead of hiding, Diane wrote a letter, delivered to every newspaper that printed lies. "I was not born rich. I have worked hard. Yes, I once helped a hungry child steal bread. And if that makes me unworthy of respect, then so be it. But I never took a step in this house for anything but love. You may not see me, but Lily does. And her heart is worth more than your invitations." The letter went viral. Suddenly, the poor and working class of New York had a new heroine. Online hashtags trended. Hashtag Le Crevant Lunam. Hashtag Diane Les Anderson. Mail arrived at the mansion addressed to Diane. "You gave us hope. Thank you. I am a cleaning lady too, and now my daughter isn't ashamed." Rebecca tried to fight back. Her peers deserted her. Eleanor, seeing the city rally around Diane, reconsidered her strategy. She found Diane one evening folding laundry after midnight. "I judged you for your place. I forgot that place is measured by the heart, not status. Will you ever forgive me for what I said?" Diane, exhausted but honest, replied, "Forgiveness is easier than forgetting a life lived in fear. But I will try. Because Lily deserves a family, not a feud." That night, for the first time ever, Eleanor thanked Diane for caring for her granddaughter. It was not a fairy tale ending but a new chapter. In school, Lily's teacher asked the students to write about the person they most admire. Lily wrote a single line. "I admire Diane because she loves me when nobody else looks." The teacher, herself once the child of a cleaner, read it aloud to the class. Parents who heard it cried. Some sent cards to Diane at the Anderson home. Mike framed the drawing and put it above the mantel. When guests arrived, he told the story proud. Some sneered, some nodded, some quietly wondered what sincerity might be worth in their world. For every whisper of doubt, a new whisper of respect grew. Mike learned that love's greatest risk was not public shame. It was daring enough to live the truth aloud. When finally, at an industry event, a partner asked, "Are you really marrying your maid?" Mike smiled, put his arm around Diane, who attended by choice in a simple dress, and answered for all to hear, "Yes, I am marrying the person who showed my daughter what loyalty, honesty, and patience mean. That I consider a promotion for our whole family." A few clapped. Most just listened unsure, but a seed was planted. A wedding approaches, public and private. All eyes on a union, years in the making. But the hardest lessons come not in the vows but in the days after. What does it mean to be truly accepted? And can a blended family heal wounds so deep they reach through generations? Spring arrived, and with it the Anderson house changed. Invitations went out for a small, private wedding. Some declined, still sour with old pride. But others, neighbors, teachers, forgotten friends, and colleagues who'd known loss, sent warm notes, even if the city's elite gossiped from afar. Diane chose a simple white dress. No borrowed jewels, no attempt to mimic high society. Instead, she carried a single wildflower Lily picked from the garden. Mike wore his favorite navy suit. No tuxedo, no bravado. Lily clutched both their hands at the front of the garden, eyes shining. The ceremony was short. Mike's voice quivered. "I searched the world for a partner who could teach my child what love means when nobody's watching. But the one who did, who healed our family, was here all along." Diane spoke only a few words. "You invited me to work for you. Lily invited me to live for her. I built this family because you finally saw past my apron to my heart." Eleanor, dressed crisply, stood in the front row. She'd fought so hard to keep the old order, but here, with her granddaughter beaming, her own walls crumbled. When Mike and Diane exchanged rings, Eleanor was the first to clap, softly at first, then with feeling. Afterward, in the sunlit garden, the guests laughed over simple food. There was no orchestra, only a cousin with a guitar. No champagne waterfall, just homemade punch and cake Diane baked herself, flour dusting her hair in joyful defiance of decorum. Lily's friends came in thrift store dresses, running in the grass with their shoes in their hands. Staff who'd once feared for their jobs now hugged Diane in turn, their pride shining. No headline captured what mattered. Lily curling into Diane's lap as the sun set, Mike holding their hands, promising aloud that his fortune would never again come before their happiness. But new beginnings are never as neat as wedding vows. The Monday after, Mike returned to work to whispers, some admiring, some mocking. Partners eyed him differently. Some sent gifts, brave choice. Others dropped business ties, he's not our class anymore. One powerful client canceled a deal, citing family instability. Revenue dipped. But Mike, who'd built empires on tenacity, was unmoved. It's time for fewer clients who count numbers, more who count people, he told Diane. The family schedule changed. Diane attended parent-teacher meetings openly. Lily never checked whether her stepmother wore diamonds. When Mike's mother came for dinner, it was she who asked Diane for recipes, quietly, haltingly, as if testing the taste of forgiveness after decades of pride. Diane herself was not freed by the wedding. Old anxieties followed her. Would she always be the outsider? Should she be grateful or bold? Could she teach or discipline Lily as a mother? Or would someone always remind her of the past? But Mike was learning too. Your dignity is not a debt to my love, he'd whisper on hard days. You deserve your footsteps here as much as anyone who ever carried our name. A month after the wedding, Diane received a letter from the school board. Her idea for a community night school, a place for working-class children and new immigrants to learn and play after hours, had been accepted, with city funding. Mike offered his help, but Diane asked him to wait. I want to build this with my story, not just your money. Let people see it's not charity, but justice. He agreed. He understood. Together, they painted the first classroom on a Saturday. Mike in old jeans, Diane grinning as paint flecked her hair, Lily handing out brushes to friends. The first banner read, La Deuxième Lumière. There is always a second light, even after the first goes out. Eleanor attended the school's opening, stiff at first, but softened as she watched Lily teach a small boy from Côte d'Ivoire how to spell home in 2 languages. Later, Eleanor found Diane alone in the library. I spent much of my life making sure my family wouldn't dip below its place, she said quietly, hands folded in her lap. But I'm glad my granddaughter found someone to teach her that place is just a word, not a value. Diane smiled softly. The 2 women held hands, for once as equals, bound not by status, but by the grandchildren who made them both better. City papers rolled out new stories. Millionaire who married the maid. How the Andersons changed New York society. Some mocked, others cheered, but most were struck silent by the photo of Lily between Mike and Diane, laughing freely in the new schoolyard. Parents from every background lined up to ask for a place, not for charity but for hope. That night, Lily cried happy tears at bedtime. For the first time, I'm not scared of you leaving, she told Diane. I know you'll still be there in the morning. Diane smoothed her hair, thinking of every night she'd once spent afraid to belong. You taught me too, Lily, that even people like me can be chosen. That's how the world really changes. Mike hugged them both, grateful that a house full of money could finally feel like a home. But then, just as peace settles, an accident threatens the new school. And Diane's leadership, courage, and belonging are tested before the eyes of the entire city. Will her small light remain, or will an old shadow fall again, proving that every family must fight again and again for its place to shine? Autumn rains hit New York hard, turning the city gray and uncertain. At La Deuxième Lumière, children gathered in rooms filled with donated books, art supplies, and the kind of laughter Diane thought she'd left behind long ago. One afternoon, as Diane prepared hot chocolate for a group of nervous new arrivals, a fire alarm shrieked through the building. Smoke, the sharp chemical kind, drifted out from the basement. Within minutes, teachers hustled children out to the street. Sirens echoed, 2 engines came fast, lights spinning. No one was harmed, but rumors flew by nightfall. A malfunction? Negligence. Maybe the maid-turned-director wasn't ready for real responsibility. A parent, panicked, pulled their child from the program. 2 more followed. One TV pundit raised the specter of unqualified leadership at new city initiatives. By the next morning, photographs ran everywhere. The city's most influential parenting blog posted, "Were taxpayer dollars wasted? Was a millionaire blinded by affection?" Eleanor's friends called with pity and subtle glee. Even Mike's business partners, some still smarting from lost deals, whispered, "Told you so." Diane was summoned to a hasty school board meeting. The chair, polite but cold, said, "Madam Anderson, we value your courage, but perhaps this is too much, too fast?" For a moment, Diane felt it all crumbling. All she'd worked for. A second chance, hard-won trust, threatened by a bad wire and old prejudice. The familiar ache of having to prove herself again rose in her chest. "I will resign if you wish," she said quietly. "But please, ask the children if they feel safe. Ask the teachers." This was an accident, a broken heater, not a careless leader. Some board members nodded, but one, a former opponent, asked, "If you step down every time there's a disaster, who do you teach, the children or the critics?" Diane, exhausted but honest, replied, "I teach that you stand up, you fix it, you own the mistake even when you didn't make it, and you ask for help. I won't blame the fire on fear. I'll blame it on wiring, and change both." Mike heard of the fire as he was closing a business call. He rushed to the school and found Diane outside, comforting shivering children with spare sweaters and warm sang-froid. He hugged her on the steps, cameras flashing. Reporters waited. His answer would shape the story. "Are you going to close the project?" They pressed. Mike looked at Diane, then at Lily, who was busy organizing paper cups for Coco. He answered, voice firm, "No fire, no rumor will close a home built on hope. This school exists because it's needed. Repairs are already underway. If anyone doubts her, they doubt my judgment too, and my daughter's. We don't quit because we're tested." The journalists, sniffing for scandal, caught only dignity. That evening, Mike, Diane, and Lily returned home drained. Diane asked, "Did I ruin it all? Did I prove them right?" Mike squeezed her hand. "You're building this city's new heart. Hearts get broken all the time. But a real home is the one that repairs itself together." He posted a family photo holding hands in front of the school with a caption, "We show our children how to rise, not by never falling, but by rebuilding side by side." The photo went viral. Comments, once venomous, slowly turned, "Courage, madam. Bravo a la famille que ici cache pas. This is the leadership our kids need." A week later, after work crews repaired the wiring, the school reopened. Twice as many parents lined up to apply. Teachers sent flowers. Eleanor, unprompted, donated books in her late husband's name. Even the insurance inspector, a cynical man with a thick mustache, admitted, "Seen worse. Never seen a director mop the cafeteria herself at midnight." Diane's humility, her decision to face the disaster instead of running, did what no city funding or PR article could. It made La Duxime Lumière, a symbol of resilience. Her staff, inspired, began sharing their own stories. Immigration, shame, perseverance. Students, emboldened, helped younger kids with homework, started Kindness Patrol. Lily wrote a speech, "Why Bravery is Not Being Unafraid," and delivered it to a packed room of parents and city leaders. At home, Diane reflected to Mike, "I was ready to give up. Every voice in my childhood told me not to dream bigger than my uniform allowed." She smiled, tears falling. "But in this house and this school, I learned that courage is sticking around through the storm." Mike hugged her tight. "All I ever wanted was to give Lily a chance. But you've given us all places where we can finally be ourselves." That Sunday, Lily insisted on inviting staff, their children, and local families for dinner. She made name cards by hand. As everyone gathered in the Anderson kitchen, no class lines, no table hierarchies, just food, laughter, and messy hearts, Eleanor made a quiet toast. "To the woman who reminded us dignity is not inherited but lived. And to the little girl who taught us how to choose." Everyone clinked glasses. Diane, surrounded by a new family not defined by blood or boundaries, finally allowed herself a laugh. A deep, belly laugh years in the making. But as La Deuxième Lumière is featured in a national TV segment, one last critic, an old rival from Diane's past, arrives to test her worth in front of millions. Will she falter under the harshest light yet? Or will the truth of her journey inspire a city to rethink wealth, class, and love forever? 2 months after the fire, La Deuxième Lumière was chosen for a national television feature. Journalists and a documentary crew filled the modest classrooms, filming children learning French, playing chess, painting hope onto blank paper. The story wasn't just local anymore. It was a symbol of what community could become. Diane, nervous, agreed to a long interview. If she was proud of anything, it was that the children themselves felt safe enough to be filmed, their laughter authentic, their dreams suddenly visible. But the media loves a twist, and the final question was a sting. Some say you were once arrested, that you left your home country under a cloud. Many wonder, can someone like you really lead our city's children? What would you say to the parents, the critics? Diane steadied herself. Every childhood shame rushed back. Poverty, rumors, mistakes. She caught a glimpse of Lily and Mike by the window, both holding their breath. She looked straight into the camera and said, "I've made mistakes. I've been poor, angry, sometimes desperate. Once, as a teenager, I tried to help a friend in trouble and the law was not kind to us. I've cleaned houses while people looked right through me. But I never lost my dream that dignity is not about never failing. It's about never letting others decide where you belong for the rest of your life. Every day I choose to stay, to help, to grow, because every child deserves a second light, even if the first goes out." The interviewer was silent. Then, unexpectedly, a crew member, an older woman, stood up and clapped quietly. Kids joined in. Lily jumped from her seat and hugged Diane for the cameras to see. When the segment aired, messages poured in. "My mother was a domestic. Your story is hers, and now it's mine. Merci Diane, d'avoir montré ma fille Chuelle put rêve plus grand que son badge de classe. A famille si n'est pas le sang, c'est la patience dans les jours tristes." Letters came from Quebec to Côte d'Ivoire, Paris to Dakar, Brooklyn to Marseille. Mike's inbox flooded with gratitude and requests for advice, not on investments, but on raising children who choose kindness over expectation. Eleanor snipped the front page and tacked it to her own kitchen wall, a shrine of humility, hard-won and richer than any Anderson gala. But the one letter that broke Diane's composure arrived on a cool Saturday morning. A childhood friend, now living in Nigeria, wrote, "You left shame and brought back honor to us. Your courage changed my daughter. She says, maybe rich or poor means little, but being kind makes you the queen of the school. Thank you for walking in storms so we could see the light." Diane cried into Mike's arms that night, whispering, "It's bigger than our house now. I used to want to disappear. Now I want every girl afraid to be seen to know she doesn't have to vanish to find peace." A year later, La Deuxième Lumière had 3 locations. Teachers once ashamed of their backgrounds now claimed them with pride. Families, rich, poor, immigrant, all volunteered. Each December, they held a night of candles, honoring those who'd lifted children from shadows. Lily led the procession, proudly calling Diane Maman de mon cœur before the whole audience. A scholarship was founded in Diane's name, for children who build bridges between worlds. The old Anderson home became a true family house. Rooms lively with laughter, no room closed to anyone, portraits of both mothers, Lily's birth mother and Diane, together above the fireplace. Mike's wealth flowed freely now, not trying to buy respect but investing in places where hope grew. When a reporter asked if he regretted being cut off by some of New York's old elite, he smiled. "I lost a world that judged by parties. I gained a home that judges by love. That's the real inheritance I needed." Lily thrived. She climbed trees, aced school, painted murals in every center her mother opened. One spring for her birthday, she didn't ask for toys. "I want us to give a house party for all Diane's friends. Nobody stands outside this time." That afternoon, their house was full of cooks, cleaners, teachers, shy children, and parents who had only ever entered rich homes by the back door. Mike cooked jollof and stew. Diane laughed at her own burnt cake. Eleanor handed out gifts. Her pride surrendered to contentment. When Lily's friends asked, years later at university, What it felt like to change the world with a family scandal. She laughed gently. It wasn't scandal. It was just the truth, finally getting a seat at the table. Diane sometimes returned to her first job, showing young women how to hold their heads up, how to make their beds as if they belonged to the queen. She'd whisper, "You are not what people call you. You're what you dare to create when the world tells you no." And in apartments across the city, children, mothers, and future families watched the Andersons and realized, family isn't made by invitation, money, or the proper last name. It's made by hands that stay holding yours, even when the world looks away. The years moved quietly forward. In the Anderson house, once breathless with anxiety, now full of sunlight, Diane found peace she never thought possible. On weekends, she woke early to bake bread, humming songs her own mother taught her far away and long ago. Her school flourished, her marriage with Mike deepened, and Lily blossomed, compassionate, curious, and trained from girlhood to spot real kindness beneath any surface. Yet for all the outside attention, the new Anderson legacy was built in moments too small for headlines. It was Lily reading to children after classes. It was Mike carrying a tray for Diane when she was late from evening school. It was Eleanor sitting at a birthday party with immigrants she once dismissed, laughing with genuine joy. Neighbors began to view the Anderson home not as a mansion, but as a safe house, the address where new families found a model of hope. Diane never forgot her old fears. At the first snow each year, she would visit the city's oldest shelter, speaking quietly to every cleaner, server, or nanny afraid to ask for a seat at the table. "If anyone says you don't belong, send them to me. We make the rules in our own house now." One winter day, as Lily prepared an essay for university, "What family means to me?" she sat with Diane in the kitchen, steam curling from mugs of ginger tea. "Do you miss the old way?" Lily asked. "Before we broke all the rules?" Diane smiled, her hands folded and calm. "I miss only the parts of myself I was afraid to show. The best parts only bloomed when you chose me, when your father listened, when we let go of shame." Mike overheard. He wrapped his arms around both, quieter than in his richest years. "I used to build skyscrapers so I could see farther than anyone else. But what matters most was beneath my feet all along." Lily pressed her cheek to Diane's shoulder. Her family looked nothing like the catalogs, everything like a prayer answered after years of waiting. Several years later, La Duxime Lumière became city law. Every district had to offer an after-hours program for children whose parents worked late. Diane spoke at City Hall. Her voice was strong, unwavering. "I stand here not as a rich man's wife or even as a director, but as a woman whose life was changed because a child saw my heart before my uniform. If we build a city where every child belongs, every mother will sleep easier, and every home will glow twice as bright." The room applauded, not for her speeches, but for the courage it takes to rise where you were told to serve and never to hope. Mike, now older but lighter in spirit than ever, mentored other single fathers facing loss or ridicule. His old friends, once distant, began sending letters. "How did you do it? How did you stop caring what the world thinks?" He answered every time, "I started asking what my daughter needed, and stopped caring what my peers wanted." Heal your family before you perform for strangers. Eleanor, aged 2. In her final years, she confessed to Diane, "I wasted time trying to control what couldn't be controlled. Loving you and your daughter saved my family's soul." They'd cry together in the kitchen sometimes, old rivals finally at peace. Diane wrote her own memoir someday, The Second Light. Not for a publisher, but for the new staff at every school that opened under her name. She ended each copy with a blessing. "Judge nobody by their station. The hands that sweep the floor today may lift your family tomorrow. Open your table, and let the world see how big your heart truly is." On a rainy evening near the end of college, Lily returned to her childhood home. Between laughter over soup, she turned to Diane and Mike. "I won a prize at university for my essay on family. Someone asked me if my story was really true. The daughter of a millionaire chooses the cleaning lady as her mom." Diane's eyes sparkled. "What did you say?" Lily smiled, soft and certain. "I said no. The daughter didn't choose the cleaning lady. She chose the first woman who ever made her feel like family was still possible. Sometimes it just takes the world a while to catch up." Mike raised his glass. To catching up, to hearts, not wallets, to love, not legacy. Eleanor, frail now but still proud, joined in. To second lights, and to children who teach us all. That night, Lily wrote in her journal, "If ever I have a daughter, I will tell her, be kind to the invisible. Be loyal to those who make you feel known. The world's applause is loud but always leaves you cold after midnight. Family is the hand that never lets go, even when you're not worth inviting to dinner." That is the lesson I was lucky enough to learn where no one was meant to see. On the eve of Diane's retirement as director, the city asks her for one last speech. A blessing for future leaders, a faith for families still trying to bridge the gap. And in the audience, dozens of former students, staff, and even skeptics gather. For some, the question remains, is the world really different? Or do miracles happen bit by bit, precisely because the least likely among us refuse to stop loving first? The day of Diane's retirement was bright and cold. Hundreds gathered at Millionaire, the school that now anchored a neighborhood and inspired programs in cities much larger than theirs. Flags of many countries fluttered in the garden. Children, now teens and young adults, returned in borrowed suits, braids, and bright dresses. Teachers, social workers, kitchen staff, the backbone of the city, came with families in tow. The mayor made a speech. So did school officials and Lily, now a young woman herself. But as always, it was Diane everyone waited to hear. She stood at the podium, simple scarf at her throat, notes unread in her hand. She let her gaze sweep across the crowd. Old friends, distant skeptics, people who once called her just the maid. She began quietly. "When I first came to this city, I thought belonging was something you earned by erasing your edges, by making yourself small enough to fit other people's rooms. But one little girl, who had already lost too much, reminded me that love doesn't care about uniforms or money, or the stories people tell behind your back. It finds you where you are, asks you to stay, and lets you hope again." A hush settled over the crowd. "I made mistakes. I have hurt and lost. But every time I wanted to quit, someone, a child, a friend, a mother, asked me to try again. Because each time we choose to love someone with no reason but the longing to heal, we change the world more than any revolution ever could." She smiled at Lily in the front row, tears streaming silently. Mike, slightly graying but happier than ever, stood beside her, pride settling on his shoulders like sunlight. Diane continued, Lumière means the second light. In our lives, the first light, the mother, the dream, the home we lose, sometimes goes out. But if you stay open, and let others love you despite the world's rules, a second light comes. Not to erase the past, but to give it company. That is what you have all been for me. Applause rose, first from the children, then the parents, until even the most reserved city officials clapped in honest respect. Diane closed. Don't measure yourself by where you start, or by the titles on your door. Measure by whose hands you hold when storms come. Open your table wide enough for the world to sit, especially for those the world taught you to overlook. And when you see a child searching the room for comfort, or a worker afraid to speak, let your answer be the one you needed yourself. You are chosen. You belong. You are family here. After the event, Lily hugged her stepmother, whispering, "You never stopped loving, even when I tested you most." Diane laughed, brushing hair from Lily's eyes. "It was you who chose me first, remember? I just stayed long enough for life to catch up." That evening in the quiet house, Mike toasted Diane beside their fireplace. "Thank you for saving us," he said simply. "Not by being perfect, but by being the home we always needed." A few years later, the city offered to name a street after Diane. She asked instead for something smaller. A bench near their first school with a plaque that read, Pour tout ce que innovant pas de place à la table. Maintenant Illinois Wyan Bank, itinus vous attendance. For all those who had no seat at the table, now there's a bench, and we're waiting for you. Mothers brought children to sit and read there, remembering Diane's stories. Elderly cleaners found comfort at lunch. Students met after school to write their own dreams. A miracle of ordinary kindness. In the Anderson home, Sundays were for laughter and rice, homework, help, and memories. Eleanor, now frail and mellow with age, spent those afternoons watching her granddaughter teach local kids how to bake. Sometimes she would say, How silly I was to care more for chandeliers than for warm bread. Everyone laughed and nobody felt judged anymore. On the anniversary of her wedding to Mike, Diane wrote a letter for Lily, a legacy by hand, to be read someday to children not yet born. If you ever feel afraid to love, remember that the world will always invent reasons to keep us small. It is our task to say yes anyway. Let your heart stay big enough for two lights, and your courage soft enough to lift others who are tired. Our family was a miracle because we let ourselves be chosen, and we chose each other when it was hardest. That's all that lasts. The city, and soon much wider circles, took up the lesson. Other families copied the Anderson model. Homes where staff and masters blurred together. Respect measured not by pay grade but by presence. Children grew up with more than one mother, more than one hand to hold, and with stories that reminded them. Dignity isn't something you wait to have once you're rich, or recognized, or enough. It's the birthright of every heart that stays true through the storm. One crisp December morning, as Diane walked past her old school, she saw a notice posted by the door. Club DuPont Bridge Club. Every child welcome. No uniform required, only respect. She stood a moment, smiling, heart full. A mother waiting for her own child saw Diane watching and came over. "Madam Anderson, is it true what they say? That you were once just someone like us?" Diane took the woman's hand, squeezed it gently and replied, "Yes, but I was never just anything. Neither are you. That's the lesson. That's the real inheritance." The sun rose above a city slowly, stubbornly learning that the heart is the richest place in any home, and that to be chosen and to choose is the greatest wealth a family, or a society, can offer.